What's up? Welcome back to Nowstalgia. Dave here with a review of 100 Gecs' second album and major label debut, 10,000 Gecs. New album from Hyperpop EDM duo Dylan Brady and Laura Less. I think there's a lot of anticipation, a lot of hype, a lot of excitement about the next Gecs record. And that would largely be because it's been a while since we got the first Gecs album. That was back in uh, 2019. That'd be 1,000 Gecs. And since then we got the remix album, we got the Christmas single, we got a brief three-track EP last fall. Laura Less had a solo single, Haunted, which we saw and heard in Euphoria season 2. They've been around, but we've been waiting for the Gecs next step. They're about to go on tour again, and now they have that new material. And funny enough, upon further review, a lot of this music that is on 10,000 Gecs, an album I loved, by the way, a lot of this music had actually already been out for those in the know. They had performed this on tour in 2021 and also performed a lot of these songs at Coachella 2022. How about that? This album's been delayed and pushed back, and it seems like a lot of these songs were in the can, at least in some form, for a while now. Either way, we have the album 10,000 Gecs, 10 songs, 27 minutes, very brief, but I think incredibly memorable because it really feels like a Gex like evolution and Gex next step really exciting. I think in 2019 and a little bit before that, when 100 Gex like blew up as this act, they're quickly placed as the face of hyperpop, the new ascendant EDM subgenre, and for good reason. I think that was what they were doing in terms of making these crazy out there looping OD bass songs. It was refreshing because it was new and hard to predict what would be next when you listen to songs of that genre. And of course, hyperpop has really blown up and has really found a niche on TikTok for sure. But I think Gecs are still the face of that. And it's interesting to hear what would be next. With more time and more attention on them. And I'm happy to report that on 10,000 Gecs, they've really kind of diversified and expanded that sound, but still very much feel and sound like the Gecs that we know and love. Just plainly speaking, I think 10,000 Gecs is really awesome. Starting right off the bat with track one, Dumbest Girl Alive, that, has kind of like a movie like score opening and then very quickly transitions into, of all things, the Coheed and Cambria riff from Welcome Home, their smash hit from 2006. Where the fuck did that come from? What a pull. And I mean, to me, it's clear as day. Like, it is the same tempo, it is the same strumming, and it hits, man. And then, of course, they jump into a Gex song after that. And I think the Laura vocals are really cool. But, like, that just, like, I tweeted this out. That like, melted my face off. Like, hearing the Coheed and Cambria riff. I thought that was fucking awesome. And that, to me, that is, like, the ethos of what Gex do, what hyperpop, when it's good, can do. This is a genre that is very much all about excess, but when things are done just right, it's like pure brilliance. I think of like Money Machine off the first album as an example of that. But like Dumbest Girl Alive to me is like clearly the best song on this album, and just an amazing like construction. I love it. And you can find that on the Nostalgia Best of 2023 Spotify playlist. Check the link below to follow that. Following it up, you have 757, 757, kind of, I would assume, the sequel to 747 Sticky, one of their big songs off the first album. More traditional Gex hyper poppy song, pretty solid. But to me, it wasn't quite as exciting after what Dumbest Girl Alive like blew my mind with just beforehand. Track 3, which is I believe the second single, been getting some attention. That would be Hollywood Baby, which is fun because again, it's a bit different. The vocals on this are clear as day, like Blink 182, Sum 41 pop punk in terms of the kind of nasally like pitch and just the overall like energy and the lyrical subject matter. Like, it's clearly inspired by that in a fun way. It still feels like a Gex song, so you gotta love it. Track 4, they kind of slow it down quickly with Frog on the Floor with this softer vocal and this like distinct drum line. Not really a hyperpop song at all. Um, Jumping back into that, you have, I believe, the first single, Doritos and Fritos, which is, I think, just a really solid like Gex song, a great example of like classic Gex hyperpop. Maybe not the most interesting song on this album, but just pretty good. Billy Knows Jamie, the next one, that one stood out to me because the vocals really reminded me of all people like Matt Champion of Brockhampton in terms of that kind of like flow rapping. Um, and very quickly, you get the rap rock Limp Bizkit homage. You know, again, another genre being kind of transposed, transfixed into hyperpop. I thought that was really cool and convincing. You know, I think $1 million. That one's pretty repetitive, not that great, but still kind of a headbanger in terms of how it sounds, how it hits. So not that bad. And then again, I got my tooth removed. It's a fucking ska song. Like, where did that come from? And then they end with one of the other singles, "Me Me Me," which is a classic Gex song, just has an incredibly catchy, melody, and it's just so sticky. Like, and that's 10 tracks in less than 30 minutes. It's so awesome. And yeah, I mean, clearly Gex, clearly Hyperpop are not for everyone. That is certainly not changed with this new album, of course not. But to me, this is really exciting stuff because it's bringing new genres and not new genres, but bringing other genres and stuff that's not super mainstream as well into that hyperpop and Gex orbit and just doing fun stuff with it. Because I think that's what Dylan Brady and Laura Les are kind of all about, you know. And they've been active in the industry as producers and songwriters for other people at this point. They're both really talented people, but at the end of the day, I think you listen to their whole discography at this point, and it's clear that like having fun and doing inspired things to them is what they're about. And you can't really ask for anything more from an artist. But let me know, how'd you feel about 10,000 Gex? Did you like it more than the past Gex work? Is a different song, The Dumbest Girl Alive, your favorite like it is mine? Let me know. And for more EDM reviews, music reviews, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.